Hi everybody. It's been a while on here, and it's been a while I actually did a live video. Wow. Life, responsibilities, just everything in between. But we thank God we are here right now. It's I've been so happy and privileged and grateful for YouTube platform. One of the blessings that 2025 brought to me that I do not take for granted, okay? And I also want to say that 50 seconds. Um, I pray for more grace, more strength. So right, a call came in and disrupted my video. But yeah, so we thank God. I'm so grateful for everyone who has subscribed to my YouTube channel, for people who, people that I know, people that I don't know, people that stop me by the way, to say, you know what, you're doing a great job, people that, give their contribution to say, I think you can do this, you can do that, you can do this better, I think you're good at this. All of this actually, yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. And I feel seen, I feel heard, and most importantly, I see the growth on my channel. Thank you so much. Just most recently, I was I was in a dilemma where I needed to make a decision, but it felt like if I make this decision, I was going to appear selfish. I don't know if anybody has been in that position before, where you are caught in between. Um should I express myself and be tagged a bad person, or should I just not give a damn? And like I just got in between. If I stand up for myself, I'm going to appear as a bad person. I'm not going to have friends, and majorly, there is always that challenge of, if I choose myself in this situation, will people still love me the way they love me right now? If I say no, we attach so much negativity to no. We attach so much yeah, so much negativity to the word no, or to the reaction no, or to the response no. We feel like if people say no to us, it's going to mean that we are no more friends, and I was just caught in between. Should I stand up for myself and say no, or should I just, go with the flow, keep hurting myself, and not, being happy? Recently, I clocked 30, and I felt like this period is actually, not because I clocked 30, I feel like every person, everybody, should be able to stand up for themselves, to express themselves freely without the fear of negativity coming from people, without the fear of people tagging them or giving them names. People should have freedom of expression. So I started reading a book called Boundaries by Dr. I think Townsend and somebody else. It's like by two people, and that book actually, is it highlights a lot of places where people don't stand up for themselves, where people cannot say no, probably because of religious reasons, for whatever reasons. People cannot say, I don't enjoy the way you talk to me, or I'm not comfortable carrying on this conversation. And most importantly, I feel like people don't even have boundaries with themselves in the first place. I know you are shocked to hear this, but you need to have boundaries with yourself as well. Like, when it comes to you, what are the things that are non-negotiable? What are the things that, some standards that you set for yourself, that even you are not allowed to break? That is what they call having boundaries with yourself. Sometimes when we are employed, with our jobs and whatever, they give us a starting time and a closing time. With the starting time, this is the time I'm supposed to resume work. But for whatever reason, if it comes to yourself, if it comes to probably your business or your personal life, oh, I'm going to stand up today and journal. I'm going to stand up at 5 o'clock today and go for a walk. I'm going to do some personal stuff before everybody wakes up. You see yourself breaking that rule all the time because nobody is holding you accountable, because nobody is setting a standard of judgment. Nobody is, you know, probably giving you a reward for it. After all, it's yourself, and you feel you can just do whatever you like. It doesn't appear like that. It doesn't speak well of yourself. To yourself and with yourself, you need to have boundaries. You need to set some standards that nobody's allowed to break. And I feel like when you get to that point, even when you cannot break some things, it is hard for another person to come to try to break it, and you won't be able to say no, because even with yourself, you've done enough justice of saying no to yourself a couple of times. You've disciplined yourself. So when people come around to want to break that standard, that bar that you have raised for yourself, it becomes a problem. Okay, or it becomes easier to say no. It becomes easier when you have also, raised your bar yourself, and you have decided that nobody is going to break this, nobody's going to go above this. Okay, because you yourself, you're not going above it. All right, or you're not going beyond it. All right, so that is about that. And also, one of the people that you also find very difficult to say no to are your family members, especially from African descent. I know what it means to say no to your family, especially your parents, your siblings, or your older siblings, mostly. But I want to tell you that there are ways by which you can. Okay, you can still say your no. There are ways by which you can. There are ways by which you can even tell your boss no. But there are ways by which you set standard for the time that is allocated for your job. Sometimes you overshoot. Sometimes you can't do without overshoot, especially if you are in health. If you are in the healthcare system, I say that because I am in the healthcare system. I know how it is with, especially a very busy day, when you try to like finish, but you still cannot finish. I know how it is. However, there are ways by which you can set your standard with your time and with your time. I feel like time is what we highlight mostly when it comes to employer-employee relationship. But we don't talk about other things involved, such as, you know, um, responsibilities. Some things are not your responsibility. Some things are not up to you to do. There are some ways by which some employers will make you do things that is beyond your scope of practice. I mean, your scope of responsibilities, within your scope of practice, but beyond your scope of responsibility. But that is not my job, but that is not what I am asked to do, or what I am what I'm here for, whatever it is. Or you give an excuse of being busy, so I've also learned to give excuses these days, to people, and especially people that are in the habit of just bumping into your time, bumping into your schedule, bumping into your responsibilities, bumping into your thoughts of line of thought. Recently I was discussing with I was in a place with somebody, and then we were having a discussion about some certain occurrences that we observed, and then the person was, trying to see the negative aspects, like even speaking about something that is not even existing at all, trying to bring negativity into the conversation. And I'm like, that is not even the topic of the scope of this discussion, right? That is not what we are here to talk about. My line of thought was entirely different from hers. She's trying to bring sentiments and whatever into it. So I tried to, like, create a boundary there. This is not, and when I told her she was not bulging, or she was not obliging to, the positive aspect I'm trying to, like, put my own line of thought into, I left. Like, I had to leave the conversation. I had to leave the environment. When it comes to boundaries, you need to learn to say, and you need to learn to also act by living. Sometimes you cannot live physically. I understand that aspect, but there are some times that you can switch off your line of thought. You can switch off, you can decide to think about something else while the person is probably still talking. A lot of ways by which non-verbal cues that you can give to people that you're not interested in the topic, or you are like creating a boundary, for your line of thought, for your actions, for your, just for different things. So basically, I just thought this afternoon that I really want to share just something very quickly about boundaries. And yeah, that is what I want to share. I hope that if you've not watched it from the beginning, you can it's just a 10 minutes. It's not up to 11 minutes video. Just go and watch it, and I hope it will bless you. Create boundaries today with people around you, with things around you, and with yourself. Boundaries is not only external, it's also internal. It also applies to yourself. It applies to things within yourself. Apply boundaries with your thoughts, apply boundaries with your actions. There are some steps that you should not take, not because you cannot take them, but because you have just set that standard for yourself. All right, I'll see you in the next live. Look out for another live that I'm going to be bringing your way. God bless you. Bye.